It's like you told me, go forward slowly. It's not a race till the end. Well, you look like yourself, but you're somebody else. Only it ain't on the surface. Well, you talk like yourself. No, I hear someone else. Though now you're making me nervous.
All right, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Morning Coffee with your host, Rick Alexander. You can follow me on Instagram at RickAlexander _ at Lionheart Radio. That intro music was provided by Brittany Taylor, and she is at Barbell Brittany on Instagram. She does photography, and she also does nutrition coaching. If you want to support the show, you could buy my book at Burn Your Couch, or you could go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or share it with somebody that you might think enjoys the message. All right. Did you think that you were listening there on 1.5 speed? I'm not even kidding. I've had 5 people at least hit me up and say that I was talking too fast throughout the show. And then as we dug into it, it seemed that they were listening to the show on double speed. And so I just thought that I would make everybody go check their phone. Or maybe it didn't. I don't know. I'm not as funny as I think I am once I actually open my mouth. What I wanted to talk to you about today is who you are, but more specifically, who you are not. See, one of the interesting things about the human condition is that as we go through our lives, what we tend to do is pick things up that aren't ours, and they were never meant for us. And so we become our surroundings, and we become the stuff in our lives, the clutter, and then we don't have a sense of who we are. And so, on this show, I talk a lot about finding out who you are and what you want, because I do believe that authenticity is the most efficient route to performance. I think I've said it before, but I think everybody is sort of looking for the next tool and the next hack and the next way to get productivity up and get motivation up. And what I'm telling you is that if you find the thing that you were put on this earth to do, motivation, discipline, all of these things are going to come as a byproduct of you fully expressing yourself in the world. But one of the things that stops us from fully expressing who we are in the world is when we pick up things that don't belong to us. What I've noticed a lot of times is people say, I'm angry, or I'm mad, or I'm sad, or I'm frustrated. No, you're whoever you are. You might be going through a feeling of that. You might be experiencing that. See, one of the things that people do is they let momentary frustration become their state of being. And I know I've talked about anger a bunch on the show because that is the one that has a propensity to really stick to us. But it doesn't matter what you're going through. What you need to understand is that you're not that situation. So you're not frustrated. You're not angry. You're not sad. You're whoever your name is. You are you, and you're going through that thing. And it's okay to go through that thing. See, a lot of times what people think is that their mission in life should be to be happy. And being happy, quite honestly, is a piss poor metric for whether or not you are living a good life. See, because life by definition is the good and the bad. It is the light and the dark, the sun and the moon, the turbulence and the smooth waters. Our lives are ever changing, ever shifting. You can't have one without the other. You cannot have joy and ecstasy without struggle and pain. And so you have to understand that since this is the mode of being, this is what life is fundamentally, you cannot pick every single thing up that you go through, and you cannot let it be you. You have to learn how to experience it with keeping your identity intact. And so my question for you today is, what have you picked up as you've gone through your life that's not yours to own, that you need to put down? And if you were to put that thing down, how much better might your life be? A lot of times we don't even know because we've been living with so much clutter inside of our heads that we don't know what right even looks like. And that's one of the reasons that I will preach meditation quite a bit, because one of the things that happens when you meditate, and I'm not going to speak on this cognitively, but more experientially, what happens is you go to this place where you actually get to observe your thoughts. You get to a place where you are looking at your mind. You're almost behind it. And you get to experience your life objectively, as it should be. See, what happens when you go through things and you don't have that perspective, that's when you become angry, and then angry becomes you, and that becomes your being. And it's very hard to be effective and to be empathetic and to be all of the things that we need to be as dynamic human beings when we're picking up every damn thing that we go by. So one of the reasons that I say that meditation is a really good idea because it allows you to objectively distance yourself from all of the shit you're going through and to just observe them. And then it allows you to know who you are because you are not all of those things. There's a much higher version of you that's not getting stuck in all the clutter of your everyday life. And I would take this a step further and I would say you're also not your thoughts. Thoughts are an amalgamation of different programming and different subconscious things that have been shoved into your head from the day you were born. You know, there's a growing school of scientists that believe we don't ever forget anything in this life. And in fact, I would say if you think about something, you know how sometimes you could smell a certain smell and all of a sudden you'll have all of these memories? Because the olfactory nerve, which is responsible for smell, is actually linked to memory. And so all of a sudden you unlock and you tap into all of these memories. Our brain records every single thing that ever happens to us, and I'm a firm believer that we don't actually ever forget anything. We might not remember it because it's not pertinent, and it's not pertinent to our survival. And so our brain has a sifting process that has essentially been coded over millions of years of evolution. But so you have these survival mechanisms, and I think I'll probably talk more about them in the coming weeks. But you can think about it like this. In your brain, you have all of the things you've ever gone through, all of the experiences, all of the emotions, all of the things you've witnessed, all of the things you've been a part of. And just pretend that if you were to look in there, so this would be a really crowded room. You would have a desk with papers everywhere. Shit would be thrown on the floor. There's people in there that were in your life forever ago that don't deserve to be there anymore. All of this stuff is in your head. And what your subconscious does is it goes through that room constantly, and as you show up in a situation in life, it hands you something that it thinks is going to be relevant. And that's really beneficial because that has been linked to our survival for millions of years. And so first and foremost, it's always survival. But your subconscious has feelings. And so if it feels bad, it's going to be like, oh, here's this thing that you need that you went through a million years ago. And that's why you feel bad right now. What your subconscious does not have the ability to do is hand you information that is going to be in the best interest of your future. Your subconscious can't plant a seed because it can never picture a tree. It only knows what it's been through, and it only knows how to keep you alive. And so what I would say to you is that you're not even your thoughts. When these thoughts pop up in your head about what you're capable of or who you are, who you could be, or what's holding you back, or as soon as you get in a relationship and you have these thoughts about how you're not good enough to be there, you're not your thoughts. You are an amalgamation of that back room that has gone through a whole bunch of shit, and you've picked up a whole bunch of stuff that's not yours. And it's not even necessarily your fault that you've picked it up because you haven't known how to direct your conscious mind in order to feed it the right things all of your life. But the thing that I wanted to tell you is you don't need to carry that stuff around anymore. Start distancing yourself and knowing that you are not the things that you go through. You are not your temporary emotional state unless you allow yourself to be. You are not your subconscious programming. You are not the shit that you saw your parents do when you were 3 years old. Now, if you don't become aware of that, if you don't try to act by your own volition, then will you be? Yeah, of course. And so my question for you today is, in the last couple weeks, maybe even this morning in traffic, what have you picked up? Are you mad? Or are you just going through a temporary emotion that is causing a physiological response? Distance yourself from all of the shit in your life, and you will be able to make sound judgments for your future. You have the ability to plant a seed because you know that in doing so, you'll be able to harvest a tree. Your subconscious, your survival mechanisms, your coping mechanisms, all of this shit in the back room, they don't know that. You have to act by your own volition, and that starts by distancing yourself from all of the things that you think you are. I love you guys. Happy Tuesday. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Girl, the moon and the stars don't shine like you do. Got me doing funny things like I'm up on YouTube. And the sun never burned me as hot as you did. Putting fire in my soul and I love when you do it. Girl, the moon and the stars don't shine like you do. Got me doing funny things like I'm up on YouTube. And the sun never burned me as hot as you did. fresh wounds can be defended. So I'd take a knife for you, or make a wife for you. Probably ain't right to do, but I'ma spend this night with you. And it just feels like you know me, pretty much the one and only. Only way I can give you all of me is if someone could clone me. I see sweat and I can taste it, you just can't be replaced. And I feel like we just wasted all our time getting wasted. I'm not the devil here, but I stole several years from you and it's time to me. Yeah, I'd need a time machine to give all that back to you and be just like a stranger. Sorry it happened to someone just like an angel. Nothing but wonderful, nothing but good from you. Sometimes you get rewarded for things you shouldn't do. Girl, the moon and the stars don't shine like